Basically, it was the appeal process to a conditional use permit application that we placed. Gosh, it's been several months ago by now. And the City Council was the one that actually came through for us. And we had already been approved by the City Planning and Zoning Department and the Commission, and the neighborhood appealed. And so we had to come back and sit in front of council. And they obviously did their homework, so it's a good thing. We're very pleased that the result was a yes. It was unanimous.
I need you to understand, in no way am I opposed to any part of what they do, what their operation is, or what the church stands for, although I didn't hear him mention church, I keep hearing him mention temple. I'm not against anything that they are doing. But I am totally 100% against forming a CUP for a church of this nature directly next door to me, for the main reason that my property values would be greatly reduced, meaning I would not buy my house if in fact I drove up and saw a sign that said Sedona Temple, looked it up on the internet, and saw what their operations actually were. It is totally against what should be in a residential neighborhood. And I understand that church gatherings and church CUPs are allowed in residential neighborhoods. I think this is totally inaccurate of what's really the operation. And I really wish and pray that the council will consider moving this CUP to another location. I also have a commercial building, ironically, directly across the street from their church. My office building is 2940 Southwest Drive. God bless them. Let them hold their gatherings, let them have their parsonage, let them do whatever they want at that particular location. But by God, keep it away from my house. Couldn't you picture me trying to sell my home and somebody driving up and punching up Sedona Temple on the internet, and a family of 2 or 3 deciding that, yes indeed, man, I'm going to buy that house, when they're teaching things like you and I should probably go to and learn, but by God, not next door to my home. I feel that my property values would be greatly reduced, and I feel that the amount of people that would be interested in buying my property if it was for sale would be very limited. I can't see if a person on P&Z or a person on City Council or a person anywhere that I know of that would like to buy a home in a neighborhood where this type of activity takes place.
And what we try to do is get rid of the guilt, fear, and shame around the sexuality piece by describing how life is in all forms, and that is the plants and the trees, the animals, the birds, and the human body. And so what we try to do is bring consciousness and awareness to the practice of doing healing through moving energy, and that's moving energy through the body as well. And a lot of philosophies, a lot of the hocus pocus or the woo-woo kind of culture that does healings in these chakras are okay. They're A-okay for mainstream, but when you start talking about this too and sort of bringing it full circle, if you would, that's when we get the judgments and basically the questions as to what it is we're exactly doing.
You know, the allegations that have been made against the Sedona Temple are very concerning. I'm sure to all of us, not just myself. You know, of nudity, of, you know, the websites, what's been posted on there, the supposed or alleged sexual encounters by Mr. Nichols, you know, over his lifetime. The use of the church is questionable. You know, but the fact is that it's been stated that this is an unconventional spiritual institution, and the laws that govern these institutions are very broad in the state of Arizona. So that puts us in a situation that is very different than somebody else, you know, just an individual coming in and utilizing this property. It's a whole different category. So our hands are tied to a great extent in terms of what we can and can't do. However, you know, a religious institution is bound by the same laws regarding our codes and ordinances, our land development codes and ordinances, as anybody else. And so if they don't comply with those laws and ordinances, then they can be prosecuted just like anybody else.
we basically deal with life force energy, which if you think about it, that's everything. I mean, everything starts with the merging of these energetic cells to create life, and that would be, you know, the trees, the plants, the birds, and the human beings.
I have seen nudity from my property on probably,
In the pool area?
no, I can't see the pool area. I mean, it's in other areas.
Okay.
Actually, I had some guys working at the house. This was the last couple years where we saw several people running around in the side yard naked. And this is directly a view from my house. I have not seen nudity from my deck.
The one issue that really did become kind of juicy in the courtroom was the public nudity, and they assumed that there was going to be public nudity because we have a clothing optional policy within these fenced walls, and apparently a couple of the neighbors have had a glimpse once in a while of a naked body, so that was really the big issue that came to fruition at the hearing.
So how
We look into the front and to the pool area to the side, and we've seen people on that front patio, not in the pool area, that side patio right there, where there's a full outdoor kitchen, bouncing up and down on a rebounder completely naked with headphones on, doing airborne yoga. So yeah, we've seen nudity at
I think
different times.
you were looking at my house.
Yeah, it was the rebounder that got us though.
Where is the practical application of averting your eyes? Averting your eyes. And I have to say that when you consider these things, and this is important, in the Bible it talks about end times, and that brother and sister, husband and wife may be separated, and that families will form around spiritual bonds at this time. And worship of the sun, laying naked outside, is part of our religion. I just want to say that.
Excuse me, it's causing a problem in the neighborhood.
Well, they just don't understand, I think. I mean, what they're seeing is the Hollywood version, because there was a movie made of us, and that's a Hollywood producer's spin on what we do. And so they see that and they immediately make assumptions. But I think for the most part, people are just afraid to even tap into it because of the word sexuality.
Our school is unconventional and our church is unconventional, and it is sorely needed in this world. And if people understood what we were up to, they would applaud. They would rush in to send their wounded to see us as we work in the front lines of sexual healing and the breakdown of intimacy between partners.
This is the neighborhood, and you know, we've only got a couple of close neighbors that really had the major complaints, and their main issue seemed to be that they felt that property values were reduced if there was any kind of activity going on here. And so we as a church feel like we're peaceful beings and not really adding to any of the foot traffic or noise, so I didn't really think it should have been an issue, but everybody has their opinion.
We moved out here because it's pretty, because it's quiet, it's peaceful, and all of a sudden we had parties going on in our backyard just across the wash. And there seemed to be nothing we could do about it. Well now, for whatever reason, you know, they've come out from underground, they're applying for a permit. Now there's something we can do about it, and I implore you to do something about it.
What qualifies us to be a church is that actually Tantra has been recognized by the federal government as a religion, and what we do as practitioners and as ministers is teach around the world. It's like a ministry or a mission. We go off and we teach people about this work.
If you went to our website, which is the ministry, Madonna Ministry International, you'll find out what we are about. I can't speak on what Des has done in the past. I can tell you what he's doing in the future, and that is that he's letting us three run our residence. We live there, all three of us, in peace and harmony, and we wanted to do that with our neighbors.
Well, Sedona Temple is going to go through a recovery period. We were hit pretty hard with the restrictions from the planning and zoning, some of which I wasn't aware of when I got here. So we have to rebuild and basically not start over, but it's really an expensive endeavor. Our funds were wiped out to get through the permitting process and to come into compliance.